I'm Alice Straker. We're currently here in my studio. My work is fun, it's vibrant. I would describe myself as primarily a food artist. You know, I have to say it's completely delicious. I started painting food after seeing the most beautiful piece of raspberry meringue cake in France back in 2013. It was so beautiful that I felt compelled to paint it. Food was this art that needed to be captured. It's sort of the impermanence of it all. It arrives on your plate, it's so beautiful. I grew up in a really foodie family. My twin brother's a chef and my mum is a fantastic cook. These are sort of literally my really, really early food paintings from around that time, sort of 2013. And this was Tom's parfait with meringue and raspberries. This is hilarious. This is his chocolate mousse. And the chocolate mousse arrived and had these like honeycomb wings and it looks like some magical creature. And this was, oh my God, this was the brioche bun. And it had this like bacon bechamel sauce on top. Oh my God, honestly, it was the most delicious thing. We'd go and just have these onion brioche buns. Oh my God. This was his souffle with like boules of raspberry ice cream. And Tom would like send me these food photos and I'd be like, oh my God, I gotta paint it. And it was literally, and I just think he just took really good pics and it inspired me to paint. I just think it was all so beautiful. This was, yeah, that was, I've written my favourite brioche buns. It was the best. I remember seeing a friend, I used to walk around with my sketchbook. My mates was like, God, you're really getting into this like foodie thing. It was at the age of 16, I kind of decided that I loved art. I was all right. I'd actually rather just learn about the history. I started studying art history in 2007 at school for A-levels, and that led me on to studying it at Bristol University. And I just couldn't figure out how I was going to make this degree work in the real world when I graduated. I ended up working for a film production company for a couple of years. It's my first job out of uni. I always had this feeling that it just, you know, it wasn't where I wanted to be. So whilst I was in London and I had my job in advertising, I would paint in my free time and I'd paint ice creams, and I was doing like a few little commissions. You know, people would see my work and say, could I have, you know, some cornettos or whatever. I think being in like a really intense environment at work in London, it like ramped up and escalated. In 2016, I had a mental breakdown. I had undiagnosed OCD. I went straight back to Hereford pretty much, left London, went back to the peace and tranquility of the countryside. I would paint every day and it was kind of the only thing that I could do. And I started going out to the barn, setting up a little easel and just just painting what I felt. I was back at home and this lovely photographer's agent contacted me and asked if I'd put together a portfolio. I realised that I could still paint. So this Pym's painting was inspired by nostalgia, by British summer's days. I wanted to create a painting that you'd look at and you think of Wimbledon, you think of the summer, you've got big sprigs of mint and tons of fruit, those gorgeous strawberries, and on the stripy tablecloth kind of creates this lovely British scene. And this was commissioned by a client, and we worked together to create a picture that you look at and you just think summer. East End Prince and Lily Vanilli, who's a cake baker in East London. I've always loved her cakes, and the blue one was the inspiration behind my wedding cake. I just wanted to show you, so like I love retro food, I love old school kind of biscuits that remind you of your childhood. That's a lot of my art, takes you back. And so my process for the caramel bar, buy some caramel biscuits. I wanted to create a picture that you look at and it's super fun, it takes you back, and that's this picture on the wall here. Self-belief and wondering if, you know, am I good enough? Can I do this? Have I got the talent? Have I got the skills? And then, you know, need to figure out a way of getting commissions, and how do you do that? How do you market yourself? I think it's been through having other artist friends and speaking to them, often being told that your work is good enough and it's original and it's unique. I think it's, you know, getting that clear in your mind, really. The advice I would give is keep going. Like, you know, you always come across these hurdles and you just never know who you're going to meet, who's going to inspire your journey. You know, there's always something around the next corner, and a lot of people say, you know, that project could lead to something else, and I think it's saying yes and being relentless with your exploration, you know, constantly evolving your skills and looking at new techniques. And, you know, I'm still learning all of this too, so, you know, this is advice for me as well, as much as it is for you.